Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with this backpack from the company Waterfly. Here, this is the NATU Pro Kung Fu Sport Backpack. A cool multi-role backpack that I have recently used on an excellent day trip. The ability to get up a beautiful summit, just have a nice day on the trails, and leverage this backpack for my outdoor sporting needs. Now, generally speaking, very nicely made, some great features, and Waterfly is a company whose products I have covered in the past. More specifically, packable and foldable backpacks that you can fold up, put in your luggage, bring to a destination, and then unfold those and use them for a general travel bag, which I've done on a number of occasions. But today, more of a dedicated backpack. Again, beautifully constructed, some great features, and I definitely have some thoughts about this. Now, there are some pros, a couple of little cons, not a big deal, but just a few discussion points as I get off of the trail. So with that, let's get into the field use, then we'll come back to the studio. I'll show you how I pack this out, and then I'll get into my final thoughts. And so now, as we get into the features of the Waterfly NATU Pro Kung Fu Sports Bag. This bag is roughly 25 to 30 liters, coming in at the 1,511 cubic inch mark and can be expanded to 1,718 cubic inches, leveraging the roll top design. Generally speaking, this comes in around 4.42 pounds, and the construction made from nylon and polyester. With adjustable shoulder straps from 20.5 to 37 inches, chest strap adjustability from 6.3 inches to 13 inches, and waist strap adjustability from 11 inches to 53.9 inches. This should fit most body shapes. Now, I am 6'1", 175 pounds, and this bag fit me beautifully. Extremely comfortable ride with a beautiful shoulder yoke system. The shape of the shoulder straps, very comfortable, contouring well, and working extremely well in my opinion. There are a number of great features on this bag. You can see some connection points, some straps, the ability to bungee some gear or equipment onto the bag in a layout that works out very well with a number of different pockets. This does straddle a couple of different genres, giving you the ability to leverage this either for the outdoor environment or potentially for a general commuter bag. Of course, I'm using this here in the outdoor environment, and some of the features lend itself very well to it. Now, as we hit the trails, it was a warm day and not too humid, so I didn't sweat a ton, but I definitely did sweat a little bit. So it was nice to be able to test this bag with a good amount of gear, the ability to carry gear for my family, which I'll cover in the studio, but also on a warm enough day where I would need some good amounts of water, the ability to carry water for my dog, supplies for my family, and so this definitely put this bag to the test. But as I got this on the trails again, and I will reiterate the fact, extremely comfortable, riding on my shoulders very well, good and flat, and tight enough to my back that it sat beautifully between the shoulder blades, running very smooth, comfortable, and confident on my back. It didn't move around a lot, and between the shoulder straps, the sternum strap, and the waist belt, had a very secure feeling on my back. And I do have to say that even after all of the use, it didn't bother my shoulders at all. It was very comfortable and even fairly easy to work out of. Now, you'll see that I did, for the most part, leverage the roll top design while I was out in the field, and generally speaking, it worked out pretty well. You can see there's a little bit of sweat buildup and some staining on the back panel, but again, not a big deal. It worked out very well. I had the ability to attach some accessories right on the shoulder straps, keep what I needed to at the ready on my side, and overall a very effective bag. Now, I do have to say that the overall layout and pocket design worked fairly well for my needs. Again, it is not an outdoor specific bag, so depending on what you're trying to do or the types of gear that you're going to need, this bag might work or might be limited. In my particular case, it worked out very well. It even has a whistle on the sternum strap to aid in visibility and signaling on the outdoors. I did have to leverage this to carry not only my gear, but the gear that I needed for my family, for my pets. This bag worked out extremely well. The Waterfly NATU Pro Kung Fu Sports Bag, very, very cool. So pretty straightforward in terms of the organization and my ability to carry what I needed on the trails. And I've kind of consumed some of the things in here, but you'll get the general idea. Single water bottle holder on the side, full 1 liter, which is awesome. Real nice to have that right on the side of the bag. Now, oftentimes I do personally like to have a second means of carrying something on the outside, whether it's a water bottle, pocket, or some sort of a pouch. And I think it would have gone a long way to have a second water bottle pocket here. More specifically because I am a little bit limited to what I can strap on the outside of the bag. So things like trekking poles, you do kind of have some means to connect to the exterior of the bag, but having that second water bottle pocket definitely would have been nice and would have come into play. But again, plenty of stretch on this and the ability to easily fit the 1 liter water bottle, so that worked out well. Then here you can see I was looking for some little lashing points. This here is just a battery operated kind of mosquito repellent. Nightcore product, works actually very well. And just clipping that on the outside. Again, looking for some simple attachment points. Sometimes this bag's just a little bit lacking, but you can make things work if you're creative. On the front, I was able to carry my dog's water, little collapsible bowl, very simple, and a nice size pocket where you can put some additional accessories. These are just the little tips that came off of my trekking poles. Now also on the exterior, I do like to have some sort of a dump pouch. So this is a simple dump pouch that you can just open up, flap that open. So if you have little things that you need while you're on the trail, or to simplify, or for me, even putting a second water bottle, this was my ability to do so. Simply leveraging the shoulder strap, that works out well, and I carry these dump pouches like this all the time on other bags. So again, that is very simple and very effective. These have a simple clip and literally just go right over that webbing. Rolling the bag around, you can see I was able to leverage the shoulder pocket here. So this little pouch, you can switch shoulders, which is nice. And in this particular case, I have the radio from my dog system. I like to be able to communicate with them. I use the vibrate and beep modes when I need to, just to get their attention, and they respond to it well. You do have a second pocket in here which you could leverage. I didn't find that I needed it, but one thing that's actually pretty cool as you take a look, let's just say I was to slip this in here and maybe it's a little bit difficult to get out. Well, once I slide that in there, there's actually a little pull tab that allows me to get on that pull tab and pull the item out very effectively. So that's kind of a nice little feature. I feel like companies wouldn't necessarily think of that. So the fact that Waterfly did that, that's actually very cool. The only other way you could get real deep items out of here is to kind of push them up, which does work, but the fact that it has that little strap there, just a nice touch, and again, it is very effective. So this front pouch, I feel like, worked very well, and I do like the fact that you could either completely remove it or change shoulders if you so choose. It simply clips on top there, which is also nice because then it doesn't ride down the shoulder strap any further. It kind of stays put. And you'll see that I was able to rock my Rocky Talkie radio here. Again, just leveraging that D-clip, clipping that right to the front. It worked out well. I found that this did roll around on me just a little bit at times, but that's more of a function of the radio itself and less a function or feature of the bag. Shoulder straps, very comfortable, very effective, worked extremely well, rode nicely, and the yoke system was literally perfect. It did a fantastic job. And as you look down the back of the bag, it's actually reasonable in terms of, its padding. But I did find that at times it sat a little close to my back, and especially on a warm day, you can see that there's some staining, and while I was on the trails, this definitely did get a little bit wet, but it has a sheet in there, and it's kind of a hard plastic, so any moisture is not going to make it through to the contents on the inside of the bag. And because you do have a couple of pockets on the outside here, unzipping the side, you can see nice weatherized in terms of the zipper track. That works out extremely well. Nice quality zippers. Inside here, I did actually carry a power bank. Sometimes I like to keep my phone completely topped off while I'm on the trails, and I'll literally get a cable, connect it to this, and route it around to my front pocket in my pants where I'm carrying my phone to allow me to top off the phone for GPS, navigation, photos, video, whatever. So the fact that this is right here on the side of the bag It's actually extremely convenient. You could definitely fit a phone in there, but in my particular case, I chose to carry a power bank. And then on the other side, a nice large pocket. Now, I didn't use this for much other than I slid my paper map in here. That was my ability to get to this easily, keep it stowed away. This is big enough for a tablet device, something like that. And you can see a little bit of Waterfly branding and logos inside. Nicely protected zipper tracks. You can see as you slide the zipper all the way to the top, kind of as it tucks in there. It's got that nice little storm flap. Again, the weatherized zipper. It's just a good quality construction. Something else worth noting as you notice this strap, this would be for traveling. So if you were carrying this backpack as a carry-on on a plane, you do have the ability to slide your luggage handle if you have a roll bag, something like that. So kind of dual purpose there, and that's kind of nice. Didn't get in the way, didn't bother me at all. It was just simple on the back of the pack. Waist strap, again, very simple. And as you take a look here, it's a real simple, kind of pull to the side design here. Worked out effectively. Not much in the way of padding, in fact none at all, but you do have the ability to remove these, so if these weren't helping you or were getting in the way, simple little clips here, undo these and pull them off. Very simple, easy design. Better to have it than not, and I did find that while I was on the trails using this for a day pack that I did end up using this, so I'm glad to have had it. Simple little keepers here, elasticized keepers to keep the rest of the material in place, and again, simple yet effective. And in a similar fashion across the shoulder straps, you have your sternum strap. Has a built-in whistle, which is awesome. And again, very easy. Plenty of adjustment. You can see how much adjustment you have. Over 5 inches of travel on that sternum strap. So really being able to dial this into different body types. I am 6 foot, between 6 foot and 6'1". I'm around 175 pounds, and this bag fitting me literally perfect for a day pack. Very comfortable, nice ride, great construction, the shoulder system working very well. Now, I did find at times there's a couple of different ways you can get into the bag. You can simply open up the roll top. So as we look here, that roll top design, unclipping the top, opening this up, rolling out the roll top, and then you're into the contents. That's how I pretty much access this from the trails. However, you can also go from the back of the bag. So rolling that over, again, nice weatherized zipper track. Opening this up, and it kind of fillets open entirely, and this gives you an understanding of more how I had this packed out. So you can see I had a full-size family quality med kit. I mean, this was enough to sustain my family, my dogs, have more than enough on the trails. I had an emergency bag, which this actually allows you to carry, an animal or a dog out of the wilderness. I have to have this because if my dogs had an emergency, I would need the ability to get them out of there. Simple little kit that I developed to carry my GoPro, which is now not technically in here, but I keep things like, for example, spare batteries, little cleaning cloths and whatnot, the GoPro and some of the attachments that fit right in there. Here you can see I have a full-size titanium water bottle. This is from Silver Ant. This is a 1.5 liter bottle. So compared to the 1 liter bottle, this is a 1.5 liter bottle, 1500 milliliters, good size. And this does struggle to fit on the outside of the pack. It's too big in terms of the diameter to actually fit in that water bottle sleeve with what I had in here. There is a chance now that things are kind of empty that this would now fit in here, but you can see it is definitely going to stretch out this pocket, and it's really kind of tight. So once you get into a diameter of this size, which is right around the 3.25 inch mark, this does get to be too tight for the water bottle pocket on the side of the pack. But then last but not least, a simple jacket. So my ability to carry lightweight, that's a merino wool with me. Weather changes all the time. I always like to have a little bit of warmth with me no matter what the season. Now you can see I do have some of the, these are the refills for that mosquito or bug repellent that I carried on the outside of the bag. Here I had an actual mosquito net, so a little mosquito net that you can put over your head. Always anticipating at this time of year bugs might be kind of bad. And then in underneath here, zippered compartment down on the bottom, I always like to have a headlamp. You never know if you're going to get stuck out in the wilderness, out in the mountains, and having some light source could be key. So tucking that in the bottom. You can see very simple organization on this back flap. Works out very well, and just nice to have a little bit of subdivision of space. Now this technically here is a laptop sleeve. I actually carried a couple of blades and accessories that I was getting some photography for, and a real simple little fork and knife and spoon set. But again, I had 3 blades, so full-sized fixed blades in here. I was out getting some photography and just enjoying having these blades with me in that sort of outdoor environment. And so I just slid them 1, 2, 3 right along the inside here, and they did just fine. And to point out one last thing, so if you look at that back panel, this is what I was saying, it has that plastic insert inside, so it's stitched into the inside here, but this side is nicely padded, so if you are going to use this for electronics, laptop sleeve, whatnot, that will work out well. And just to point out that, you know, this bag, again, just reiterating the fact, has a couple ways to get into it. So if you're going to get in from the back side, you're kind of going to have to lay the bag down on the front, so just take that into consideration. And if you're going to get into the top, you know, you're going to kind of have to figure out how you want to lay things in here and your ability to get to all of your contents with ease. So again, generally speaking, nice quality bag, good overall layout, nice features. I feel like for the outdoor adventures, there are a few things that I find a little bit lacking, and the lacking pieces are such. Number one, I would love that second water bottle sleeve here on the side, my ability just to, you know, easily carry 2 water bottles. I think from a construction standpoint, there's no reason why that couldn't have been. It's literally constructed almost identically. The only thing is, you can see they did carry a design aesthetic right up this way. So what? Put a taller water bottle sleeve, nice tall right there. It would be awesome. Deep ride your water bottle, it'll never fall out. And in fact, on this side, I actually technically had to leverage this loop. So you can see here, as I push this back and in, that wasn't really deep enough for me to trust it. And I actually had to take this in the first place, loop it over the top, and cinch it down to make sure that it didn't fall out. Well, if that's the case, having that second water bottle pocket over here and a deep ride wouldn't be a bad thing. And it would allow me to slide trekking poles or any other gear right down and into there. Trekking poles, tripod, you name it. And it would have given this a lot more flexibility and versatility. I would have also liked to have just a little more material here. So not only could this be, you know, potentially increased in size by a little bit, if they didn't want to, they could gusset this and then give it the ability to bulge out just a little bit more, especially on the bottom, because it is the bottom of the pocket that gets a little bit tight. So from my perspective, having a little bit more room there would have been better. And something else to consider, they really only gave an attachment point here for the water bottle. I would have also loved additional connection points right up here at this webbing. So had they added another loop like this with the shock keeper, that could have gone right up on top, and that gives you a great way to carry trekking poles or tripod and have the stability on the top of the bag. You can't really only leverage things on the bottom of the bag because the items on top flop around. The only way I was able to get trekking poles, I had to kind of weave them and tangle them into this shock cord tight enough. And then up on the top, I was able to take the handles and kind of loop them into the grab handle, which you can see here on top, and get that grab handle around the actual handles of the trekking poles to hold it in place. There's no other real good effective way to do that other than to add additional maybe shock keepers somehow to this webbing here, or the strap that comes down over the top. You could maybe figure out a lashing point here, but it should be built into the bag. And I would say on both sides. So it's very simple. Just introduce that extra loop right here with that shock keeper, and you got it. It would be very easy, very basic, and not add really any cost to the bag, but it would dramatically increase the functionality overall. And so, all right, guys, there you have it. A look at the Waterfly NATU Pro Kung Fu Sport Backpack. Again, using it in the outdoor environment, you could certainly use this a number of different ways. Because this is set up as a multi-role backpack, you could absolutely utilize this for an everyday carry or even kind of a commuter bag. Now, it does fall in a sweet spot in the 25 to 30 liter range, depending on how you build it out and depending on how you build out the head pack. I know some people will really like the roll top design. It works fine for me. Should be reasonably moisture resistant, but after a while, you'll probably introduce some water into the bag. Now, they can only do so much to make this waterproof, but because of that roll top design, it should generally shed moisture. As I demonstrated, I had the ability to pack this out pretty well. Now, if I was going much further or had a different kit, this might have been a little bit tight for my needs, but it did work. I had the ability to carry what I needed overall without any problem. I could definitely have introduced a water bladder if I wanted to. This isn't really exactly set up for that, but I probably could have done it. Worked out fine where I was able to use those water bottles. And again, I would have much preferred to have a second side pocket here. In my opinion, that would be a better overall design to leave this additionally flexible from what it already is. But I do have to say, I like the bag, I like the construction. They will have other colors. So today we saw this tan color. I have seen other colors potentially available, but at the time of this video, the tan is really the color that they're going with. I do like the overall construction. I like the way it rides. I think it carried very well. And so all in all, a cool backpack. I definitely like it. And I can say, I do recommend it. And so again, to the people at Waterfly, thank you so much for providing this for review. Look in the description box below where you can find all of the relevant links. And if you like this content, do me a favor, check out my Outer Limitless family of channels. So you're here today on my primary Outer Limitless channel, covering all those outdoor adventures. Outer Limitless 2, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. Outer Limitless Blades, which covers all the sharp and pointy things, and Outer Limitless Lights, which covers all your lighting needs. So that's the Outer Limitless family of channels. Thank you guys. Take care now. I'll see you soon.